welcome back to another episode of Magical Life with me, Yashodhara. And this whole show is about bringing and finding people, remarkably talented and amazing people from different aspects of life, and bringing them together as a family and telling their stories, their journeys, their lives, their ups and downs, and everything so that you understand how and why they are on the path that they are on right now. On today's episode, we have a very remarkably talented woman, Drishti. She has not yet graduated college, but yet she has founded a digital marketplace called QuickKai. So Drishti, please tell us a little bit about your story. How as a college student, you're still in your final year, and
thank you for having me here. So QuickKai is basically a digital marketplace for service, where we are trying to integrate all of the personal care and home care services and make it available for all the urban households in the city.
Okay.
Currently, we're operational in Gauhati city, and we started back in June 2019. So it's been 1 year roughly, and we're incubated under Government of Assam's Incubation Center, which is Assam Startup DNES, in partnership with IIM Calcutta Innovation Park.
Okay.
So the reason why we started this was to make sure that all of these different vocationally skilled workers. Now, when I say vocationally skilled workers, these includes anyone from an electrician, plumber, someone who gives laundry services, perhaps someone who's good with makeup, someone who's good with fitness, nutrition, every sort of personal care and home care service that you can think of. This market is very much fragmented.
Yes.
Now, if someone living in an urban city would want to access these service, first of all, the primary obstacle they face is to find a platform where every service is listed for their own convenience.
Yes.
And secondly is that these different services, their pricing is not uniform. Someday, for example, an electrician might come to your place. He might do a minor job as just fixing your electrical board, something as that, or something major. But then one electrician might be quoting you something as 500 for a minor job, whereas somebody else might be doing it for just as 100 or 150.
Yeah.
So there is no, first of all, uniform pricing, which is not just difficult from the those service professionals end, but also as a consumer, it's very difficult to understand. So these are the two primary reasons why we started this initiative.
Okay, guys, I must tell you that it is raining. If you're hearing the sound of rain, it is because it's actually raining. And we actually planned to shoot outdoors, but Assam and its wonderful weather, it rains anytime. So we're shooting here, and if you can hear the sound of rain, it's raining actually. So Drishti, tell me, did you always want to be an entrepreneur? Was that your forever dream, or did it just happen somehow?
Right. If I come to think of it, since school, first of all, we are Indian kids, and we are well aware of the fact that if you are not a doctor or an engineer, it's a little difficult. Although things are definitely changing, people are no longer in the rat race, which is a very good thing. But I was a part of the rat race.
I know.
So, despite being part of that, I had a very affinity towards technical stuff, which is why I thought, why not explore engineering?
Yeah.
So, when I joined college, everything changed, because college gives you opportunity to explore and meet so many different kind of people. And thankfully, I had people around me who gave me advice as, these are the 4 years of your life where you can just go out and explore and learn everything that you can. So there was this one particular society called the Entrepreneurship cell that every college had, where students are introduced to what entrepreneurship is, what are the potential in case you want to go down that journey, etc. So in the very first year I joined that cell, and I found myself going to several events. So that is exactly where it started, where people started explaining what the world of startup is, how people can actually take up an idea and convert it into a business model or whatsoever. I started working with them from second year onwards, and then because of my whole interest, I participated in all these different business pitching plan competition in Assam and international events as well.
Okay.
Throughout the journey, I started realizing that even though engineering is definitely something I love, since I would obviously be done with the degree, technical domain is something that would be a part of me, obviously. I would obviously be able to explore it later on. But throughout the journey, I realized that, yeah, entrepreneurship is something that I would primarily find myself using it as a tool to impact more people.
Yeah.
So that is exactly how it began.
And it's always so wonderful to actually have more and more millennial women coming up as entrepreneurs. That's really, I'm happy to actually have you. You're the co-founder, you said. Like, so your brother is the founder, right?
My elder brother.
Elder
yes.
brother is a co-founder too, right?
Yeah.
So like you came up together with the idea, or how was it? Was it you, or how was it?
Again, another story. Back to my first year. So when I first got introduced to the whole idea of what entrepreneurship is, I was actually exploring a completely different domain, which was not the service sector.
Yeah.
So I spent 2 years on that idea, went to different pitching plan competition. In fact, came third in a pitching competition which was held in IIT Gauhati. So second year of college got over, I thought that that is something that I will be working on. By the May of third year, when all of my batchmates started finalizing what they're going to do after college, some of them were starting to prepare for their masters, some of them were talking about competitive exams, and then there I was, that just, torn apart whether or not I want to go for placements or I want to do something else.
Yeah.
In the meantime, my brother was intensively doing all the necessary background thing that you must be doing before starting a startup, right? The market research, talking to potential customers.
So is he also an engineer, or did he like?
No, he is a master's in history.
Oh,
right.
Wow, that's like a wow moment, because you guys are like so from polar opposites to the entrepreneur world, but yet you guys came together to build a whole startup.
Right.
Yeah, tell me more.
So, after he was done with the whole market research, and then I think back in 2018 he started off with just, with building the online presence, and he was doing that. During that moment, I was a delegate to this conference called the Harvard Project for Asia and International Relations. It's a student-led conference done by the Harvard community. So that is where I think I would have to mention that conference, because that is exactly where I met a lot of like-minded people and networked with a lot of mentors, specifically from the startup domain, which led me to realizing that maybe this is something that I primarily should focus on.
Yeah.
Towards the end of 2018, I just had this normal casual conversation with my brother, trying to figure out what exactly is happening. He told me that he's trying to build this online presence and this and that. And then I realized that maybe now he needs a team. And I started showing interest. But even then, I was very, very clueless. Starting off 2019 went just the same way. Midway into 2019, he told me about the whole incubation thing that we should be applying for. Even then, I was very, very, impatient, because again, I was occupied with college, exams. I still remember applying for the incubation, I think, last moment, when the application was just about to get closed, because I did not want to turn on my brother. And after the incubation happened, suddenly things started accelerating. I found myself joining the startup full-time, and exactly how it began.
Right. So tell me, was it after joining the startup incubation, was it a bed of roses, or was it lots of thorns too? Did you struggle?
It was definitely not rainbows and butterflies at all, like any other startup. I think the primary struggle that I would like to mention is finding the product market fit, because despite being in the service sector and the people already acquainted with the idea of how a digital marketplace would look like, I think the first thing is, if you are not a very renowned brand, a very big name who has a lot of influence, trying to establish that whole market among your customers and that whole building that trust among people was a little bit of, challenge in the initial days.
Yeah.
So it took some time. And secondly, since we were I think I've already mentioned in the beginning, we were working with vocationally skilled workers. Now, making them believe that we are the right platform for them
Yeah.
to help accelerate their economical status, because we were working with them and making them believe that they will be having the proper market access if they are associated with us. That was difficult. But then slowly and gradually, when one service partner joined
Started
us,
trusting you.
yeah, and then
It's word of mouth,
right,
basically,
word
amongst
of mouth.
themselves, yeah. So, like, another thing that I was really curious about, like, this is very similar to urban company, right? Like, how are you managing to compete with something as big as a giant of another company? Yeah.
Right. Currently, we wouldn't say we are the only startup from Gauhati city who is in the service sector. There are definitely other competitors. But then, urban company does not have its establishment currently in the northeastern region.
Oh, really?
So that is one thing definitely that we have to look at. And when you're in a startup, you will obviously have to have different, USPs, right? Which is the unique selling proposition,
Yeah.
as we say. So even we have that, and that is exactly how we're proceeding so far. Yeah.
Okay, so like, okay, tell me now, like, because of the global pandemic, how have things been for you now? Like, what are the changes you made? Like, I'm sure the business has been impacted because every damn business has been impacted negatively because of the global pandemic.
Right.
So tell me your story about that.
So initially when the pandemic hit, obviously, I think I remember making financial projections for this year in the beginning of like January, February. Things look way different than they are currently. And when I look back right now, I'm like, what was I probably thinking? It's probably the same with a lot of companies.
Yes, of course.
Mid of March, when we started realizing that things are closing down, people have to maintain social distance. Perhaps contactless technology is the thing that will
Yes.
take over
Yeah.
currently.
Yeah.
One good thing about us, I think, would be since we call ourselves a digital marketplace, we don't have like a physical presence, right?
Exactly.
So people would obviously be able to access and know about the services online.
Online.
So we had already established that. Now, second problem was all these service partners go and get their services at the comfort of the consumer's home. Now that was another challenge because people would obviously be curious whether the person is following all the protocols that they should
Yes,
for the
exactly.
safety purposes,
Yeah.
Whether their temperature is correct or not.
Yeah.
So during this whole process, we started realizing about what the customer needs from their end. Whether this would be safety, about developing contactless technology. We haven't launched our application and website yet,
Okay.
but we are building a tech that will obviously enable everything that is done digitally and contactless,
Okay.
apart from the services. So that is how we have tried to pivot.
But then, like, your work's still going on, right?
The work is still going on.
Going on.
Initially, when we realized that because of the sudden confinement into the four walls of our home, it has drastically impacted the lifestyle of so many people who have a completely different lifestyle. So, and then we realized that the mental health was one of the most important things during the pandemic.
So much.
It still is. It's still very, very prevalent. Which is why we started adding these services into our platform as well.
Mental health.
Right. We started collaborating with mental health professionals and allowing these services to be available through our platform so that people can.
That sets you apart from Urban Company and all these other platforms because, like, they don't take into consideration the mental and emotional well-being. They're taking care of the household and everything else, probably physically, but
Right.
you guys actually take into consideration the fact that mental and emotional well-being of the person is also important.
Very, very much.
Yeah, that sets you apart and that probably gives you an edge too. Yeah.
Right. Because when you're giving service to an urban household, we are not just looking at the household, right? These are
Yeah.
people that we're dealing
Exactly.
with, real people with emotions and feelings, right? That is why we say that we are trying to reimagine service. It's
Yeah.
not just service that we are delivering to our consumers, but we're trying to reimagine the way people think of when they want to access service at the comfort of their home.
Yeah.
So not just mental health, but also because the gyms or the parks and everything was closed, people also found it very difficult to keep up with their whole fitness regime.
Yes.
So we made sure that all of these different fitness professionals were already on our platform to help people get access to this different,
Wow. So
fitness.
what else? Like, what else did you add? Like, apart from mental health and gyms, and now what
Right.
else?
Right. So we realized the importance of fitness, right? And especially for someone who's very much a fitness freak, they're very conscious about what they eat.
Yeah.
Now during the lockdown, there was definitely limitation on what are the different food supplies they were getting access to. So it was a little difficult for people from that particular category who are very aware of what they eat. So apart from the mental health specialist, apart from fitness trainer, we also collaborated with different nutritionists who would help guide these people, this certain category of people, to help them know about what are the, alternate food supplies that they might be,
Yeah.
having during the lockdown period, making best of what is
What is
available
available?
around them.
Yeah.
So that is how we pivoted. And third, when the lockdown started, getting a little bit relaxed, we realized that since everybody started getting more conscious about keeping the periphery of their homes and commercial spaces very clean and sanitized, we introduced the sanitization services as well
Oh wow.
to keep your office spaces and homes microbe-free. So that is how we pivoted.
Guys, this is nothing like Urban Company at all. I mean, you guys are something else. And like, so are you? What is your plan going ahead? Like, this is what you have brought on so far. I mean, all these different aspects. I mean, which were all of these pivoting that you did according to the
Right.
situation that was going on. So what going forward? What like are you going to expand, or what is the plan like?
Most definitely, there are plans for expansion. Obviously, we do not look to just serve the people of Gauhati because we've been gaining good traction from so far, and perhaps by the end of next year, we're looking at different towns and cities in across Assam as well.
Yeah.
So apart from that, since we work with the service sector and our primary responsibility is to help establish the market access for the vocationally skilled workers to the market, we are looking at a large number of people who have the relevant skills, but they are not getting the proper market access because working as a freelancer alone and being associated with the platform are completely different. So that is what we are planning to mainly focus on going forward.
Going forward.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. It was so nice having a chat with you, and I know that you guys will make it big because you guys are so good at pivoting actually, like, I mean, there aren't too many startups that, can make such pivots. That is where startups fail. I mean, that is when they can't, like if they fail to pivot. Yeah. So, and you guys are so good at doing that. I mean, like, you have been like multifaceting the whole thing, like, like everything that is required. You've been doing a lot of research, as I can see.
Yeah, I think it just comes with the whole startup scenario because the first thing that you can think of when you hear the word startup is uncertainty. Things may look a certain way today. It may change overnight, perhaps in the next hour also, and you need to be quick on your feet. So that is exactly what we've been doing so far.
It was so nice to speak with you, Drishti. I wish you all the best.
Thank you so
You
much.
guys make it big, and we're watching, and like, people, guys, be sure these guys are gonna make it big. Be aware of them. And wish them all the best. I
Thank you
wish you
so
all the
much.
best.
Thank
It
you.
was really nice chatting with you, and it was a very enlightening session to speak with you. Thank you, Drishti.